Thank you, Bill. To introduce our next inductee, Ginny, Marrianni, Kitt, class of '82.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is a privilege to introduce a true giant of the hospitality industry and one of the hotel school's most devoted alumni, Richard W. Brown, class of 1949. Like many of his generation, Dick's education was interrupted by World War II. He served 3.5 years in North Africa and Italy with the US Army. When he came home, the GI Bill gave him the chance to attend Cornell, and that's where his lifelong connection with the hotel school began. And, as it happens, Cornell gave him more than a degree. It's also where he met his future wife, Muriel Welsh, who was studying in the School of Nutrition. In 1947, they were married in Sage Chapel. In 1948, Dick was the assistant manager for HEC 23, and like so many board members, went on to build extraordinary careers in the hospitality industry. Dick started in hotel and food service management, but it wasn't long before his leadership stood out. By the late 1960s, he was executive vice president of the National Restaurant Association, helping to create the National Institute for the Food Service Industry, expanding educational programs, and giving the industry a stronger voice in Washington. He even brought the NRA's annual convention back to Chicago's McCormick Place, which remains one of the biggest industry events in the world today. Later, Dick turned his talents toward the wine and spirits business, first as director of marketing with Schenley and American Distilling, and then with Banfi Vintners. At Banfi, he served as vice president and assistant to the chairman, combining his deep hospitality experience with his incredible gift for connecting people. He built relationships across the restaurant and hotel world, created partnerships with hospitality schools, yes, other schools, culinary programs, and became a true ambassador for wine. Through it all, Dick's love for Cornell never wavered. He co-chaired the fundraising campaign with fellow alum Dick Holtzman that raised $43 million to expand Statler Hall, served as president of both the Cornell Hotel Society, the Cornell Alumni Association, and mentored countless students and alumni. His name now graces the Richard W. Brown 49 Cornell Hotel Society Amphitheater in the Beck Center, a lasting symbol of his devotion to the school he loved. Over the years, Dick earned many honors: the Frank H.T. Rhodes Exemplary Alumni Service Award, the Cree Industry Recognition Award, the American Express Travel and Leisure Award, and the New York City Alumni Chapter named him Hotelier of the Year. But if you ask anyone who knew him, they'll tell you his real legacy wasn't his titles or his trophies. It was the hundreds of students, alumni, and industry colleagues he helped and supported along the way. I didn't meet Dick until later in his career. I was a freshman in the hotel school when he began working for my family at Banfi Vintners in 1979. He and Muriel would always reach out whenever they were on campus, which was a lot. It wasn't until after I graduated and started working with Dick that I began to understand what it meant to be a hotelie and to see the hotelie network in action. He was my mentor for 10 years and taught me so much. He even managed to convince me to become a lifelong CHS member at the age of 22. It didn't matter where we were in the world, a hotel, a restaurant, an elevator, or on an airplane, Dick would inevitably run into someone he knew. And I'll never forget him inviting me to his home to have dinner in the late 80s with a recent hotel grad named Phil Miller. He said, "Ginny, Phil's a great guy. You have to meet him." That was Dick. He was a master of connecting people, helping alums whenever he could, and who lived out the best of what it means to be a hotelie. And now it's my pleasure to welcome Gary Brown, Dick's eldest son, to the stage to accept this award.
Wow.
Picture with the
Oh,
frying
yeah.
pan.
Frying pan pictures.
Exactly, you in the middle.
Oh, Ginny, that was incredible. I must clear the air right away. I'm not a Cornell graduate. I went to UNLV. My father used to call it the second best hotel school in the country. Ah, yes, UNLV, 5 or 6 of the best years of your life. I can't add anything to Ginny's introduction other than to tell you, people ask me what type of guy was Dick Brown. Well, I have a story, a little quick story, cognizant of my 4 minutes, and it's about when he was running the National Restaurant Association. They used to have seminars across the country called Issues and Answers all over America. And Dad was excited to get Jackie Robinson to introduce the panel for Issues and Answers. And Jackie Robinson at the time was very prominent, still is, broke the color barrier for the National League, and was very prominent in the field. Anyway, he called his lobbyist in Washington, D.C., and said, who was an admiral from the very, very deep South. And he said, Dick, we can't have a black man represent our business. And Dad said, Admiral, what are you doing for lunch tomorrow? Dad got on a plane, flew to Washington, D.C., met the Admiral, and he said, Admiral, minorities are going to be our best customers, and they're going to be the owners and operators of restaurants across the United States. Admiral, you're fired. So Dad came back to Chicago, and as usual, we'd wrap up his week, and I poured him a big scotch, Dewar's White Label always. And I said, Dad, how was your week in Washington? He said, son, I want to tell you that in all my years in the Army, I only made it to be a buck sergeant. But this week, I fired an admiral. Thank you. And I have 2 distinguished people here, well, maybe 1.5. My brother, Bruce Brown. Bruce, stand up. And a lady that worked with Dad for many years, Patsy Wright, is here. I thank everybody at Cornell for this. I'm deeply touched, and Dad is looking down, smiling at all of you. Thank you, and as Dad would say, love all around.